Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a cute little bird on a long canvas. We're going to do some Gladiolus. This is like number 3 in our long flower series, and I'm looking forward to showing you how to do this one tonight. Let's get started. All right, so I have my husband Mark here with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man chat tonight, so if you're here live with us, welcome. Glad to have you. And yeah, ask questions.
We'll
try
answer.
to answer. Yep.
Well, they may not be right answers, but we'll answer.
We'll answer one way or another.
Exactly.
I'm using a 8 by 16 inch canvas here. You can use really whatever size you want. You know, if you were doing it on a wider canvas, you might add more flowers, you know, and have the bird kind of offset maybe on the third or something like that. I'll show you the other two that we've done previous to this. So this will be kind of the third one in this series. And these, in the reference photo, the Gladiolus are kind of pink like this. So I think I'm going to sort of make them a little more peachy just so that they're a little bit different. Maybe kind of pull out some of these orangey tones that are in this bird so that they kind of complement but aren't too close to this one in color. So that's the idea. Really have enjoyed this series. This was one of the paintings, you know, I have literally hundreds of paintings that we've done over the years, and those two are two of the ones that I have actually up in my living room. I like them so much, so I hope you guys like this one too. This will be fun. Although I don't have room for this one, so this, I don't know. Is this going to kick out one of those other ones? We'll see, I guess. Only got room for 2. Or they may have to be moved. Who knows? I don't know. All right, so I'm going to put some tall leaves and maybe put it behind and kind of doing like this, or maybe pointing it in. We'll see. Something like that. Just a long, slender leaf. And then we'll have the flower kind of coming out like this. A couple more leaves here. Learned my lesson on the last one. I need to plan my leaves out a little bit better because they ended up looking a little bit like, you know, I'm not going to say it because I don't want my video to get
a controlled substance.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit.
I see where your mind was that day.
Wish I could say I'd tried it. I have not, but
Me neither.
no. All right.
So, jumping in there.
I'm jumping right in with chalk here. I'm just gonna. I usually do this ahead of time on Tuesday nights, and I didn't realize how late it was. So jumping right in.
She was enjoying a book.
I was.
Just relaxing.
Well, one of my favorite authors came out with a new book yesterday, so stayed up way too late reading it. I'm still only like 40% through. I didn't get the chance to read much today, so I was trying to kind of get a couple chapters in and have dinner, and snuck up on me. All right, that's what happens when you get into a good book. All right, so these are... looks like 5 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see. Maybe that might be wrong. Maybe 4 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, maybe 4 petals. Yeah, I'm seeing 4. Okay. So that makes it pretty easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's about right, I guess. This one's kind of hiding behind the other ones. This one I'm going to erase the stem there. So we're just going to see it in front of that. And there's the little center, and it's got the little stamen or whatever those are sticking out. So I want to put my bird right here. So let's go ahead and kind of place it maybe a little bit more this way. Kind of where I want it. So that tells me that I need to move my leaf down here. Get a little bit of a wet wipe. Although I do have it pretty high up on the reference photo, so maybe I can move it up. Let's see. I do want to put in a couple of little buds at the top that weren't in my photograph that I badly photoshopped for this. So I want a couple of little things coming out at the top there. And the gladiolus cluster along one central stem. So, and we'll just have the bird kind of popping into this little spot here. So maybe take that out or move that over a little bit, just making room for the bird. Oh, he's just like a long bullet shape. This is one of those nuthatches that like to hang upside down on trees. They're so cute. We have them come to our yard occasionally. He looks a little bit big. Let me see. Let me look. Yeah, he's a little bit big. All right, let's make him a little bit smaller. A little bit more compact. And I think I am going to have to take that stem down. Lower it. I might have to pull all of those down just a little bit. We'll see. One of the things I would suggest is if you're going to be sketching this yourself, to do it on paper. And that way, if you do need to move things, you're not disturbing the canvas, because the more, now chalk, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but it will, you know, the more that I do this, if I was to erase 2 or 3 more times here, I might pull up some of that color, and you don't want that to happen. So, all right, so I'm going to put that big flower there, kind of one of the last of the large flowers. Maybe move this one down just a little bit. And then, yeah, just have that stem kind of ending right there. That I think is going to be good. And we can have a little bit of a pod there, and then one right there. Don't want it to go too close to the end, because I want there to be a little bit of breathing room around it. So try not to get right up to the edge there. I bring that down just a little bit more. Something like that. Okay. I think that's good. I might make this flower a little bit bigger. This one that's kind of uncurling there, or even yeah, there is one that I've kind of missed up here, isn't there? Maybe move it down. Yeah, something like that. Okay, there we go. All right, so then stop and look at it. Look at your empty space around. Make sure you've left enough kind of breathing room for everything. I think I will move this down and this down just so that this leaf here is visible and has a little bit more room between it and the bird. And I might even bring it either out or bring the bird out. Like, I feel like it probably needs to end right there. And that's good. So this might need to be moved down just a little bit, just so that it's not competing with anything. And can maybe make this one, bring this one out a little bit more under there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just kind of keep in mind where that is and where your center is. Move my center down there on that one. Okay. This is going to be important to have these kind of figured out before we start painting, because we're cutting into this black space here, so I don't want to have to repaint this background, especially because it is a mixed color, so it's not out of the tube color that I can reproduce easily. And then I might do just one kind of random one there. We'll see if we need it. We may not need that, I don't know. But we can put more leaves in there. Okay, so I think that that should be good. I mean, they're pretty vertical. You know, I'm trying to kind of give it some movement and space them out a little bit. But they are all along that one stem. I do need to keep in mind this one. I may have to tuck it in a little bit more now that I think about it, because it is, if it's on that same stem as these ones, the center of it needs to be facing in. I had it kind of facing out, so the center of it needs to be like right here. This is underneath the flower, right? It needs to be attached to this stem coming up, so it can't go out too far, or it wouldn't be attached to the same stem. Okay, so that's probably
So
good. What?
somebody nicely pointed out to us that gladiolus have 6 petals.
6.
And
Ooh.
I did the Googles, and the Googles agree.
Okay. Where are the other? Are they
It looks like they're kind of on the back side.
on the back
So
side?
it looks like there's
Underneath?
4 prominent and 2 smaller
2.
ones, or
Okay.
I think it's different varieties too may have a little bit, but
Yeah, one of the ones that I'm looking at looks like it's, but yeah, they may be, it may be like an iris too, where they're like, some are underneath, tucked underneath, like there's ones.
So-
Okay, all right, so we'll keep that in mind as we
#facts.
go.
So if you're in school and you're
Check.
taking a test, and you say, "Well, Miss Angela
No,
said it had 4,"
definitely-
don't
no,
blame us
don't
for
believe
getting
me.
the question wrong.
I obviously don't know. Yeah, I'm looking at my pictures, and none of them are really clear enough to. No, I can see 6 in that one. Okay.
We're
Yeah,
not- we're
it
not
looks like
flower
3
doctors.
coming out this way and then 3 in between on some of them. And then on the other one, that doesn't look like 6. But
So if you're playing Trivia Pursuit, you know the answer now.
what?
If you're playing Trivia Pursuit,
You know the answer.
You know the
Okay.
answers.
Thank you for pointing that out, because that
No,
would be,
it's very good.
I would be
'Cause later
sad
on
if I
you-
did this whole painting
Yep.
the wrong way.
All right. So do you want to go over your colors?
Yes, let's do that.
All right.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Thanks, hon.
Let's introduce the starting lineup tonight.
Okay, got carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, India yellow, cadmium yellow light. You probably could do either or of those. I don't think we're going to need both, but phthalo green yellow shade, ultramarine blue, quinacridone magenta, pyrrole orange, unbleached titanium, titanium white, and gloss glazing liquid.
Boom.
All right, I'm going to start with my green and add some burnt sienna to that. Just tone it down. Don't ever really usually want to use the phthalo green straight. Maybe add a little bit of the ultramarine blue. Okay. And I'm going to add just a tiny bit of the unbleached titanium because the phthalo green is transparent and I didn't add enough of the other colors to make it not transparent. So you don't want it to. You can always go back in and darken it up, but it's going against this dark background. We want it to show up. So, all right. So I think I'm pretty sure that I for sure want this one here. Let's go ahead and put that in. And then kind of just continue it underneath this one. Right there. Okay. Maybe get a little bit more of the white and a little bit of yellow. Whenever you add white to your green, you're generally going to want to add a little bit of yellow. That will help. And then we can figure out what direction we want our sunlight to come in. I think I'm going to probably do it this way since it's off the bird's back, there's highlights on this side, so I'll probably just do my highlights right there. And I'm just kind of brushing that into the wet paint and streaking it through. Okay. And then let's go ahead and make the stem kind of coming up right there. Might do another leaf. Like just part of one right there. Coming in front. Okay, let's see. And then you're really not seeing any of the stem until we get up to about right here. So I just want to kind of visually follow that line up there, and that's about where it's going to emerge again. And do a couple little smallish buds, and there's a little bit of it showing there. Okay, getting more yellow, a little bit more white, and gonna add some highlight. Kind of along there. Maybe again on here. The third value on the stem there. Okay. Now that may be all we do of the green. We'll see. Again, I might add some more over here. We'll just kind of get these flowers in and see what we think. All right, let's go ahead and fill in our bird. Get him going. Actually, no, I'm going to do my flowers because they're going to need a couple of coats since they're so light and this background is so dark. So let's go ahead and do them first. So I'm going to do the main part of the stem with a creamy white, like ivory color. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. I think I'll use maybe a tiny bit of the yellow oxide. Even that much was a little too much. Let's go ahead. I'm going to leave that. I'll probably use that in my bird too, so it won't go to waste. All right, so there we go. So nice kind of creamy white. And the reason I'm doing this is because then I can put white highlights in my flower and they'll show up nice and bright. And then some of that I want to be a little bit more of a brighter yellow. So I'm going to get some of that India yellow and have a little bit of that over here to use too. Okay, so getting that creamy white color and kind of do like that, and then have a little space. Might do just the tiniest bit right here. I don't know, we'll see. And the nice thing about these flowers is they've got this really beautiful ruffly edge, so we want to take advantage of that and really make our edges all ruffled. This was the smaller one. It's just kind of opening up. I'm just using the edge of my brush here. This is an angle brush, by the way, number 6 angle. Sorry, I really did jump right in today. I'm just excited about this one. And as I'm painting these, you see I'm getting some of these black lines, and I'm gonna try to pull through so that they're all kind of lining up towards the center of my flower. So if any of those show up, I might choose to leave some of them in subsequent layers. And we want them to kind of be pointing in the right direction. All right, so I am seeing this one has got one right there. Kind of overlapping, a little bit smaller ones, and then so it's like 3 larger ones on the outside, and then 3 smaller ones that are kind of on the inside. I don't know that we're gonna see that much difference. Like, it's really hard to tell in my photos where the petals overlap, so we may not have to worry too much about it. Just want to get that overall shape correct. You can see that second one right there. I'm just looking at those borders and trying to get the shape correct and leave enough room for that center to be lined up on or near that center line of the flower stem. Right, so a little bit more of that white. And do this one a little bit farther down and out. So there's a petal there. And then there's another one right here. Kind of behind. And then, yeah, another one right there. That's sort of ruffly. And then the larger one right here. That comes all the way over to this. And then we can see the little one right here that's kind of just right there. And then the larger one that comes up and goes all the way to that one and fills in that whole space. Okay. Getting there. Thank you. I know I keep coughing. Yeah, that residual cough. It's better. It's much better than it's been, but still get catches me off guard.
At least you're kissable now.
It's true. It's true.
There was a long dry spell there.
Yeah, I went from
through the
cold to cough to cold sore. Like,
like what?
I know. It was bad. Okay.
But all things are good now.
Yes, we're all better now. Not contagious, at least.
I'd risk it.
Disney next week. We gotta stay healthy. Okay. That is one thing I did mean to mention. I don't know if now's the time, but we are not going to have a live stream next week because we're going to go down. We'll be at Disney World with our granddaughter, and son, and
Granddaughter and handlers is the correct term.
that's right. Yes.
The adults that move her from place to place and feed her. Their primary roles.
Yes. Keep the cuteness alive. It's going to be fun.
Actually, that's my kitty.
Actually, we should play that video. No?
I mean, you can play the audio, but don't.
Don't show it?
Yeah, don't put it on camera.
Okay.
Send that to 'em. People will be like, what am I watching here?
It's funny.
No, you're a microphone.
Actually, that's my kitty.
That's my kitty.
Actually, that's my kitty.
No, actually, that's my kitty.
No, actually, that's my kitty.
No, actually, that's
That's my kitty.
my kitty.
Actually, that's my kitty. Okay, the voice, I don't know. I'm sure we're the only ones that think that's super cute, but no, actually, that's my kitty. So funny.
Our son has such a cute voice.
She's a smart cookie because she's only 2, but she gets the joke. Like she plays along with stuff like that. It's really funny. I love it. All right. We're proud grandparents. Sorry. We can't help it.
What you get when you come here.
Yeah.
Videos of dogs.
No extra cost. Yeah, exactly. Our dog and our...
He's in his bed right now, behind
Busy.
Angela. Waiting for the show to be over.
Yeah. Well, he was knocking at the door there. He heard us starting.
Well, he was
Probably
in.
could have left a
he
little
went out.
room there, but I think that's going to work there. So, what?
He was in, and then he heard Spencer move around, so he had to go
Ah.
out. And then come back in.
Come back in. Okay.
I'm just so undecided.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's good. We are a little shy on the stem there, so we'll have to extend that down a little bit. There. Okay. And I do feel like it would probably benefit from having some green up in here somehow. So I might, I guess I could have probably left a little bit of that showing there and had a little stem there, but they're pretty crowded. So I don't know. I didn't want to do too much, but I feel like I could probably put a leaf up in here, just kind of coming from behind it, extending up. I don't know. I'm going to wait. What I'm going to do is let this dry. I'll do the bird, then we'll let it dry, and then I'll wipe off all this chalk, and then we can decide if we want to add anything else. What were you?
Sounds like a good plan.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and fill in our bird down. We'll let this dry really well so that we can add in all of our little details to our stuff there. All right, so I'm going to get that off-white color. And we'll start with that on our bird. And just double check my angles and make sure I've got, so there's a really obvious angle here that curves out under the head. And goes back to where he's attached, and he's got his leg right here. Right there, and it kind of comes forward right along there. Okay, so I think that's going to be good.
We had a good show on Saturday with our patrons
We did.
for the basic series.
Yes, we did all kinds of perspective and composition and values. Made our own value scale, like this. Not exactly the same, but on paper, you know. Yeah, it was good. I think it was about a couple hours.
Yep.
Just went over all kinds of basics. Was the I'm making a gray here with the burnt umber, burnt sienna, and mixing it into that yellow or that white that had the yellow oxide and white here. Yeah, it's been a good series overall. I think we're almost done. I think might do one more in it just to kind of do all the loose ends like varnishing and framing and things like that. But it's gone over all of the kind of just the basic acrylic painting. And I mean, when I say basic, I mean, you know, very detailed things that I don't have time to teach during my live streams because we're, you know, trying to get stuff done.
Right.
And I don't have time to stop and explain everything every time. So it's just kind of a one-stop shop where if you have a question about something, you should be able to go and find it. There's a lot of color mixing and all kinds of stuff. So, okay, I'm mixing a gray here with the blue and the burnt umber. I'm going a little bit more on the blue side. I might add a little bit of the burnt sienna too. And because it's a gray, but it's very blue leaning. And yeah, I think that'll be good. I'll definitely have to add some white. I'm going to start with this, and then we'll add some white to it over. So you can see I'm kind of just using this for Filbert here and softly blending those two together. Kind of dry brushing when I get to the edges, just smushing that paint around. Let's get a little bit of white now. Mix that in. Get a little bit of water so that it moves. And gonna go along that back. Highlight that back edge. And the tail, I'm going to bring the tail out a little bit more. I think it's longer than I have it. Thank you. So there's the long tail feathers, and then there's these overlapping wing feathers, and then another layer of kind of wing feathers here, and then the head. And that doesn't come in as much as I have it there. It kind of comes, actually stays at an angle. It doesn't come in at all. Stays at an angle out. And the head comes out. Very sleek. Let me get some black. Using the black to sort of define these major areas on the bird's back. Those tail feathers. Kind of just blending that out now, going back in with the gray to kind of soften off that, and get some white, and kind of right here where the two meet, just kind of tap along that edge and tap along that edge there to kind of soften off where the head and body meets. Put a little bit of a darker gray where the eye's going to go and where the beak attaches. All right, then I'm going to switch to a smaller brush now for my beak. So I don't want to try to do it with the big brush. So I'm going to get a little round. Just this one's a 2 round from the Aspen short-handled brushes. And the 2 in this one is different from the 2 in the bigger. The 2 in the bigger is much bigger than this. So, getting some black on my brush here. And that beak starts in kind of right in here. Comes out of probably almost the same length as the head. So I think where I've drawn it is pretty close. I'm going to get some of the gray, come up underneath. Actually, let's just do it with the gray, and then we can add our color, or add our black to this. Since the background is so dark, it'd be hard to see the black against black. So let's go ahead and put our little eye in here. It's got a little bit of a cat eye. We've got a little bit of a roundness at that back end there. Let's zoom in on this one. What?
My remote is...
Yeah, I see that. Okay, getting the black here, and now going back over here. Let's just make this head nice and sleek. And we'll put the black kind of just in the middle of that beak. And there's just a little bit of a dark part coming out there. We're seeing the chalk, so that's making it look kind of funky, but I think once the chalk goes away, it'll be a little bit better. I'm going to get a little bit of that yellow oxide and white and mix it in with that gray and use that. I don't have this filled in very much, so I'm going to give it a second coat here around the face and bring that out a little bit more. It's closer to where I originally drew it, I think. Okay, kind of like that. And then let's get some burnt Sienna, burnt umber. And the foot is kind of almost halfway. It's kind of somewhere in here. We're seeing that come out. let's get some of that gray feathery color and just kind of go over. Get more of that brown and put a little bit of it on the underside over here. And then we'll get that black, mix that in with that brown, and just use kind of a dark gray to put in that foot. Just a suggestion of the leg. We're not having to paint it in really carefully. Just a little bit of a suggestion there. I might even put that green over the top and just let the leg be behind that stem a little bit. I want the leg to show up, but I don't want it to be too obvious. Okay, so that's kind of the leg right there. Let's get that gray brown color and put the little floof that comes, the feathery part that comes out where the leg comes out, and then go a little bit darker right there where that leg is kind of coming out from that. All right, I don't know if that's even visible. Getting a little bit of black here, putting a little bit of that behind where the elbow, kind of the right up underneath where it attaches there. Okay, yeah, so there's the leg coming forward, and it's sort of even with the eye where the claws are. In my picture, they're kind of coming forward this way. They're setting here and sort of coming forward. So I'm not sure on this flower how it would work. They probably wouldn't be perching on a flower, but that's okay. This is our world. We're painting what we want. Huh?
They could be.
Could be.
They could be anywhere.
That's true.
Kind of like the Carolina Reds.
Yeah. They're little enough. They're probably not super heavy. Okay, so just like a little highlight on the leg there. And again, I'm not really sure. I think I'm just going to have him kind of grabbing that. Maybe like that. Those are too white, but you get the idea. All right, so this is dry. So let's take our cloth and just wipe all of our chalk marks off. And this will help tremendously. We'll be able to see what we're doing here. Our bird's pretty much dry too, so now we can see what we have and start making adjustments. Okay. Very good. All right, he's a little bit long. I think I still made him kind of long. I don't know. But it is what it is, so I'm not going to try to mess with it at this point. No. All right, I'm going to get some black here, and we're going to do that there. And then I'm going to get some of the gray. Get some white here. And I'm going to come up underneath. Make sure you add enough water to this that it flows. It's not wanting to come off my brush. It's being very sticky tonight. This time of year with our heater running all the time, it gets very, very dry in our house. So running a humidifier is good. Spray your paints often. I haven't been spraying mine probably as often as they need it tonight. Okay, so we get just a little tiny bit of white, and I'm going to put a little bit of a, kind of take most of the paint off here, so I'm just kind of slightly dry brushing and just paint on a little bit of a highlight coming in and go into the face so that beak is attached into the face and not setting out on the edge. And then we'll put a little bit of the white around it. Might zoom back in because I don't think it's visible.
Are you erasing the stuff I thought we were going out? So.
No, not done. Just thank you though. All right, getting some burnt sienna with this gray. I'm gonna do the bottom of the beak. So the bottom, it's pretty thick right up there, and then it starts to taper out right there. And then that again goes in to the face. I'm gonna get some of that brownish color, bring it in right there. And then it kind of, there's kind of a little bit of that sort of around the eye. That's what really will sell the realism, is if you get these little teeny tiny blemish feathers almost. They're just that kind of transition between the colors. If you just have that black eye on top of that white and don't have anything that kind of helps bridge the gap, it looks stuck on there and it just looks weird. So getting some of that gray and going in around the eye, just making sure I've got some color there. And then let's go ahead and use that gray. I wiped off most of the paint, and we'll just put a couple little highlights on the eye too, like that. And then I'll get my brightest white and dab off most of it. I just dipped the tip of this brush into it, so you can see it's kind of globbed onto there. Then I kind of dabbed it off. I want to see, yeah, so I don't have a ton of highlight in these other ones, so I'm going to take some of that off. Just maybe dab just a little teeny tiny bit. Okay, I think that's enough. Just enough that you can see that it's got a little bit of a highlight there. And then if you want, you can kind of come in and very carefully like do a little bit on the inside of the eye too. Just slightly right there. And get my black, oh, the brush just went flying. Get that black and clean up any little bits there. That looks pretty good. All right.
Somebody would like to know, is the tip of the brush hard?
Is the what?
Tip of your brush hard?
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Yeah. It's a brush that's got some push to it.
Okay. And what brush is that again?
It's the Aspen, the short handled.
Okay.
Princeton Aspen. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a soft.
Number 2?
Right, number 2 round. Okay. And I think we're pretty good here. Kinda. Just kind of soften off that edge there. And then go back in with my black and go pretty close to that edge. Right. Yeah, that's good. And then make sure I've got like a little bit of a gray line coming out. This kind of has a little bit of a slant at the back of it and kind of connects up here with the black. All right, then I'm going to get really dark black and put it right here on the back of the head. Just kind of, and then it comes forward here. There's some black that comes forward. And I'm using pretty thick black here. I want it to go over, but I'm using very short little brush strokes so that they're kind of blending in. Leave a little bit of a space between these two. Bring that black around. Leave a little tiny sliver of lighter color right there. Okay. And then I'm gonna kind of flatten this brush out. Just press it flat a little bit and kind of find that center line that is. It's kind of right up from the eye. If you kind of go up and then kind of find that spot up here and sort of just move up. That's sort of the center line of the back. Right. And so we've got this coming around here, and we've got these little feathers here. And just dry brushing. So dry brushing, you're not putting on a ton of paint, you're kind of letting it scrape against the canvas and create texture. It's a softer way of putting your paint down. Leaves a little bit of softness. Okay. Looks good. Then kind of define underneath the feathers right there. And they do a little crisscrossing over each other right in here. And then there's a little bit of a black sort of right there. Okay. Right there. Let's get some, whoops, I don't have any of that gray left. Dried up. Well, maybe a little bit. Yeah, okay. Get some white and mixing in that with that gray. That was the Ultramarine Blue and browns. Both browns. Okay. Go ahead and put some streaks in these feathers here. And birds are not about like painting, for me, it's not about painting each feather in individually. It's kind of, if you get the main color shifts in the right places, your eye fills in the rest. So don't generally put a lot of super detailed feathers in. Just kind of try to get them going in the right direction, and then try to get these major ones, like, you know, there's one here that's kind of rounded that we're seeing the top of come down. So get that one in, and there's another one that's kind of below it that we're seeing. Get that one in, and then kind of just hit the highlights on the rest of these, sort of just where they overlap one another a little bit. And that's about all you need to do. It's pretty fun. There's some obvious color right here that curving around. And if you get any that are just like really obvious and they look funky, then just take the color that is next to them or near them and just kind of soften it off, or get a color that's in between the color that you put on that looks too dark and the color next to it. You know, just mix those two together and you'll get a good transition between your colors. These ones back here have a little bit of burnt umber, brown in them. And we're just about done with this guy. There's a little bit of the white or light colors kind of peeking through underneath here, so it might dab on a little bit of highlight. Okay, we'll let him be for now and work on our flowers. We might need a little bit of darker color underneath them, but we'll see. Sometimes until you get the rest of it done, something, you know, might look a little out of place until you work on the rest of it. Okay, so let's decide what colors we want on our flowers here. The ones in the picture have kind of a really bright pink and a yellowish orangey tongue inside, but the other ones that I'm looking at are like greener inside. They have like a greenish yellow inside, and the outer edges are like a peach color. So I think I'm leaning towards that. So we'll try the orangey or the more peachy color for the outer part and see if we like it. So I'm going to use Quinacridone Magenta and my Pyrrole Orange. And then those are probably going to be too bright, you know, a little bit too vibrant, so I might use the Unbleached Titanium to tone them down, because that has burnt sienna and yellow oxide with the white. So that'll be a nice peachy color. It'll kind of have a little bit of that, just slight leaning towards that. Maybe the interior of those flowers too. It won't be quite as pink as the other. I need more white. How's it going with chat?
It's good.
I'm being quiet tonight.
We've been talking about the weather, the snow
down
on the beach, and how cold it is everywhere.
Nice. Very cold here.
Yes, but we didn't win.
We didn't win?
No.
We won.
We weren't the lowest.
We are what?
We were not the lowest temperature. I forget who won. It was like minus something stupid.
Oof.
And now we're talking about wines.
Nice.
So we're
I like
focused. We're focused
Focus on the art.
on
I like
what you're
it.
doing.
Hey, I don't care. I mean, this is all about hanging out.
Hanging out with friends.
Yep. I could record these if we didn't want to do it live, you know. Nobody who's actually painting along with me is in chat right now, probably.
Right.
I don't recommend it anyways, so I recommend watching it ahead of time and taking notes and then painting along. All right, so I've got kind of this peachy color. There's the most concentrated, and I think I want to keep it fairly light and soft, so we'll see how it goes. So that this one at the bottom here is the one that's that is this color. I pasted it in with the other ones. It's not in the original photo. This is, again, badly photoshopped. I don't spend a lot of time photoshopping these. My main goal with these photos that I'm painting from is, can I get it close enough to where I can figure it out as I paint? And if the answer is yes, then that's good enough. And then that's when I stop.
It's the general layout and composition.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
It's
the
composition.
details.
Right. Yeah, the rest of it I figure I can figure out while I'm painting. So. Okay. Yeah, I think this might be a good color. We'll see. Put a little bit of it more concentrated down here. Overlapping. Okay, and then that center there, let's use yellow oxide and burnt sienna. And then we might add a little bit of green to it as well. We'll see, we'll start there. And I want this fairly dark, because if we don't have it dark enough, there won't be a depth to our flowers. So it's pretty dark in the pictures. It's probably probably somewhere in here. So we need to get it just that little throat part, and then it quickly fades out into the mid-tones. Let's get some more of that yellow. White and yellow for the background. So kind of pull out from there with the yellowish color. And I think that'll work. Okay. Get a little bit of that darker color and kind of define our petals a little bit. Put a little bit of that shading in there. Okay. Yeah, I think that's getting there. You can always add more layers to it and add more of the darker peach, so we can make it more obvious. I'm going to kind of blend out that color a little bit. These are always going to go directly down into the center, so any of these petals that are coming down, that we're seeing come down, we should have them go down into the middle here, where that sounds like an obvious thing, but trust me, it's sometimes when you get paint and you forget and you end up with these pointing in weird directions, so let's keep an eye on that. Okay, I think that looks good. Let's do this one underneath. So this one I'll do a little bit darker because it's overlapped. Not seeing as much of these back petals, but we're seeing these ones.
So the nuthatches,
Orangey red. What?
so nuthatches don't migrate.
They don't.
No, they just hang out in the area.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. So ours live somewhere around here then. Year round. That's like the little wrens do that too. Our little wren has found himself a spot in our garden leftover area. We've got the little brown, this little guy that was sleeping in our
In the green stock.
yeah, if you
vertical
watched
planter.
this video I showed yeah, he was in the green stock, but he was also in the umbrella
Oh,
for
the
a while
umbrella,
too. We
yeah.
had a video, or
Yeah.
like we showed him when I painted that. I shared the video of him, or the photos of him in our. He tucked himself up like just his little butt sticking out. It was
Yeah.
so cute. Like, you can't see me. Like, we can see your whole body. You're pretty much
You're not hiding.
the whole back of you is sticking out. And he was just tucked up in there to sleep.
Yeah, there was one checking out the wreath on the front door Sunday morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was on the couch having coffee, and he's just here making a bunch of noise. And I could see him through the frosted glass.
It was one of the little nuthatches, or the little wrens, Carolina wrens.
Yeah.
Oh, cute. Yeah, they're not super scared. Like they're kind of like the house wrens or house finches that they don't mind people too much. They come right up.
And I guess the nuthatches are friendly towards humans, and it's not unheard of for them to fly up and land on their
And
for them
eat
to
straight out of their
feed.
hands.
Yeah,
We haven't experienced that yet with ours. They're pretty shy.
I need to do that.
Yeah,
I'm going to quit my job.
and just sit out there
Just sit
all
out there,
day with some
exactly.
feed.
Yeah.
I think that's a good retirement goal when you retire. Just like,
Well, not retirement. I mean, like right now.
well,
I
I'm
mean,
just saying, like,
just I'll quit, and that'll be what I do full time.
you gonna start a channel?
Sure. Just
I
me
like
sitting
that
out
color.
there.
I think that's gonna work. Let me put these up next to it and see what we think. Yeah. Oh. Subscribe went on.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think that's gonna work because it's got some of the peachy tones that are in these other two. I like it. Okay. Yay.
The peachy tones. They're a group from the 60s, right? And the peachy keys.
Marky Mark and the peach tones.
The peachy tones.
Peachy tones. All right. Stickman Mark and the peachy tones. That's not
Yep.
not quite like Wolfgang, but close. Wolfman.
Yeah, I updated my Steam name to Peepaw Stick.
Peepaw stick. Yeah, I know Mark got Peepaw. He was Grady for a little while. Liam started calling him Grady for a while. And then he was Grampy. And then Noah started calling him Peepaw, and that's pretty much stuck, I think. So
Call me
each of-
whatever you want.
each of the grandkids have had their own
Yep.
names for Mark. And I am the Gigi. For a while, she was calling you Gigi. She thought that we both were Gigi. Or
We
that
were
it was,
one unit.
We were, yeah, we came together. We were,
Then we were Grandpa Gigi,
right, yeah.
and now we're
Peepaw
Peepaw
Gigi.
and Gigi. Two separate
I
entities.
mean, if I get on the phone with her and Mark's not around, she is like, first thing she asks, where's Peepaw?
On the video chat.
It's so funny. Like, Okay, Gigi, yes, I'm glad to see you, but more importantly, where's Peepaw? All right. I am just very carefully going in here, and you can see how I'm kind of blending out these edges just by kind of setting my brush down and sort of flicking it towards the middle. I'm not pulling all the way down. Just kind of doing these light brush stroke and letting these colors sort of feather out into one another. And then what I'll do is get that whitish color. That's the base color, that kind of yellowish white, and just come and do the opposite in the opposite direction. That gives it a second coat because it kind of needs it. It's kind of patchy in places, that white is. But it also blends it back over, blends into that peachy color. Okay. And then getting that darkish color there, the burnt umber, burnt sienna, and trying to remember where this one is. Okay, it's right here. Yeah, that's this one. Okay. So there's just a little bit of it showing. There's kind of a petal sort of in front here that I need to make sure I bring out. I'm not doing a ton of contrast with these lighter peachy flowers. Just, some of them, they don't have a ton of contrast. So I'm going to do nice and dark around the center, but then they pretty quickly go fairly light, and the overall colors don't get super dark. Not as much of a contrast. Now, if that's a problem and they start to look really flat, then you may need to come back in and do a little bit deeper tones in here, and I may end up doing that. We'll see. I need to get this initial color down, and then we'll work from there. I've got a little bit of time left here. Got 45 minutes before Mark's going to kick me out of the studio. So
You can stay.
that's true.
You can stay as long as you want.
Mark's going to abandon the studio, I should say.
Yeah, there you go. That's better. Can't
I
miss
know where
anything.
my loyalties, his loyalties lie.
Tonight's tonight.
Tonight's the night they're going to find the treasure. Is
Tonight,
that
yes,
it?
that's
It's
what it
always
is.
going to be the night. Every time.
Last week they found a glass bead.
Mm-hmm.
1 hour. They found a glass bead
Yep.
and some boards.
More wood.
More wood.
Mm-hmm. Dock or something. Yep. Very exciting TV.
Which, okay, I'm sorry everybody who's watching this painting show, but this wood was like on top of the ground in tall weeds. How has nobody seen these in the last 100 years of digging
true.
on an island? I mean,
true.
it's like, really?
It's true.
It makes me feel good about myself.
It was men. It was men who were searching. That's
There's-
why they weren't found.
There's no mustard in the refrigerator. It's right here in front of your face.
It's literally right there. Can you find? I can't find the.
So
Whatever.
you say, suggesting that if there was women searching for the treasure, they would have found
I'm
it
pretty
a long time
pretty
ago?
sure they would have found it a long, long time ago, or just given up and
Yeah, but would they have blown up as much stuff?
They would not have blown up, or I don't think there'd have been as many backhoes involved.
Not as many sticks of dynamite or backhoes?
No. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We have our moments. No. Yeah. All right. Getting there. Just kind of trying to get the centers sort of placed. Thinking about where their little things are going to come out of them. I never know the right names for those.
Stamen
Stamen
and
and
I knew this in like 8th grade.
stamen and I want to think it starts with a P, maybe.
I'm not going to Google it. Stamen and okay. I might Google it. Ooh, we have a winner.
What is it?
Thank you, Carolyn and Pat. Pistol.
Pistol, yeah. That's it.
We say that confidently, and we couldn't figure it out.
I knew it started
Yes.
with a P. That's all.
That's good.
Okay, so I want more green in here somewhere. Trying to figure out these things are pretty spiky. I'm afraid if I put another one here, they'd be too matchy. So wondering if I put another one just right down low right here or coming this way, maybe. Don't know that I want to do it out. I could do it kind of coming out like that and filled in. But then I'd have to put it behind all of these. That might be tricky at this point. I could do it right there. I don't know. Because they have a little bit of a thing behind where they're attached, but it's not really obvious, so I think that, or it doesn't come out this far, it would just be kind of hidden back here. I feel like this is probably not on this stem. Probably a little far out. So maybe this could be a leaf. And we can do the stem here. Coming this way, maybe. Like right there. Stem. Splitting the difference between those two. 'Cause this one is way over here. So we could make this a leaf and have it come out like right here. Maybe. We'll try it. Just jump in and try it. Getting some yellow. Make it a little bit wider so it's obvious that it's a leaf. then right like that. Yeah. We've got some more upward movement here. Fills in a little bit more of that. Tells a little bit more story there. We've tried growing gladiolas. They do great in our soil. I think it's too wet or something. Because I've planted bulbs a few times and like a couple of them will come up and then they just never come back. So I don't know if it gets too hot here or what. It's just never have had good luck with them. They're beautiful. Okay. Yeah, so that's not bad. And then we'll do the sort of stem guy like right there. All right, I like that better. So this little one probably is redundant, but probably didn't need it at this point, but and I need to probably shadow that because it'll be right up underneath that flower, so it'll be darker there. It's getting some shadow. Okay. Got some flaky paint making an appearance there. Trying to work that out. I need to clean off my palette. All right, let's do this last couple with the peach color and then I'll clean off my palette because it's starting to dry. All right. Now these are quite a bit darker, so I definitely will use a little bit of the burnt sienna with them. Okay. I will have a traceable for this, so I would, if you're not comfortable with drawing, then that's the way to go. Use the traceable, and I'll have all these petals sort of lined out for you so you can mark them out. It'll make it a little bit easier to follow along. Sorry. Yeah, I need to take a drink. Okay. All right, and then Need to get some of the yellow. And just come back in here and blend back out with that yellow. Okay, and then getting that darker burnt umber, burnt sienna, and just a little bit right there. Not really seeing the opening of it, but you're seeing just a little bit of dark right there. Okay. All right. So I might go back in now and add a little bit more dimension here and there. I'm gonna scrape off all of that dried out paint here. That way I won't get those little crumbly flakes that I was getting in my leaf here. Okay. And most of this is still pretty wet. I'll take off some of that, but most of that's still usable. I love these shop towels because they're so thick. They go for a while before you have to switch them out. All right, I'm going to keep these brushes wet. Actually, this one I didn't use. I don't know why. This is the one I used. Make sure those don't dry out before I get the chance to wash them. I haven't used any of these, so set those aside. That little one especially will dry out pretty fast. Don't want to ruin it. Right.
Very nice looking.
I think I can come out. I might come out with a little bit of a leaf here, because I feel like it'll help balance. It feels a little top heavy right now. It's like it's gonna fall over, which they kind of do look like they're gonna fall over. They're tall, you know, thin, and you kind of sometimes do have to stake them because they will kind of topple. But well, I mean, this one has no leaves, and it's okay. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'll just fill it back in a little bit better. This one doesn't look like it's quite connected to its base. Just running some lines through. Give them some a little bit of a texture. Okay, that looks good. A little bit more, and we'll add some there and there. A little bit on the bud. I wonder, no, I guess that would be there, so we're good. Might make it a little bit thicker. And go darker where it's going down into the leaves there, and where it's kind of overlapping underneath right there. Okay. That's not bad. I think this could come out too. I think that it would help if this came out a little bit more. Right. Yeah. Okay. Let's do one more layer of the peachy color. That was magenta and Pyrrole orange and unbleached titanium. Get some white in here too. Yep. White. And I'll get some glaze and some water. Just thin it out a little bit so that it's a nice thin layer. And let's just gonna find our dark spots and make sure that I've got good contrast in here where our dark areas are. Just throwing in a few little streaks. Give it a little bit more detail. Making it a little bit darker, but still keeping that peachy color. Just giving a little bit more contrast. Okay. How are you doing, hon? Everybody's still talking about food and stuff? The weather?
Let's see. Yeah, the weather. Still, I mean, it's a historic
Yeah.
snowstorm.
Hitting places that it doesn't normally hit. Or-
Right, like Pensacola got 6 inches of snow, which
Wow.
broke the record that was set back in 1954 of
Wow.
4 inches. You know, parts of Louisiana got 8 inches, Texas, you know, through Houston up to 12 inches. So, kind of a once in a lifetime thing.
I see. Cool.
Between that and the cold and
And fires in LA.
Fires in
Hopefully
LA,
everybody's
yeah.
staying safe in that.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that last week. It was like, wow.
it's just a mess right now.
No, a lot going on.
It's good to sit here and just paint and
Mm-hmm.
chat with people from all over the world.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have a nice heater in our house. Nice and warm, very days like this, you do not take that for granted. That's for sure. All right, now I'm getting the white and I'm coming back in here and you can see the difference there. Done that one, you know, just bringing out a few little highlights with that pure white over the top of that peachy. And this is why I didn't start with pure white, because I wanted to be able to do this at the end. And now it's gonna help highlight all of these areas. And I'm just kind of looking at my picture and seeing where the light's hitting my petals. It's not always gonna hit at the same spot. These petals kind of bend over, and so there's kind of an area in here through the middle sometimes that'll catch the light, and then other times you'll see it kind of more out towards the edges of the petals. So, or maybe where it's rippling and folding. So, and some of them we're seeing kind of through, the light shining through. This is helping a ton though, isn't it? It's amazing. It's really making that look 3D. I'm not going to put any down in here because that's shadowed.
You may need to put a bee butt.
A what?
A bee butt.
Bee butt. Yeah. I think I want to do this with the larkspur next, because I have some pictures of larkspur, and I think that would be a good one to add. So let me know if you want to see bees with larkspur, because I have some good pictures of that from our own garden. Larkspur we did grow. Grows pretty well here. It's nice. It's one of my favorite flowers. Okay. Yeah, I like that. All right, that looks very good. It's very glowy. All right, let's go ahead and add our stamen and pistils. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do the darker ones. Some of them look lighter and some of them look darker, but I think I'm going to do the darker. So the stems themselves are kind of a yellowish. So let's go ahead and start with that kind of creamy yellow oxide and India yellow with white. And this one is coming straight at us. We're seeing just a little bit of it, and then we're seeing the ends. And then this one is curving out here. This one is curving out this way. This one's going straight up. Some white. Adding some white to the ones kind of going in. Down in, and we'll probably need to add some shadow to those too. But kind of hard to see them. So I may need to go a little bit darker and get some burnt sienna. Use that with it. And they are kind of almost invisible against the backdrop of the flower, but in our case, I think we want to see them, so I'm gonna kind of fudge it and make the color a little bit more noticeable than it is in the pictures. That's okay. It's a painting, so we're gonna do what we can do to make it the painting look better. All right, that one I'm not loving. I don't know what I did there. I think they're too spaced out exactly the same. They're pretty crowded. In the picture. Okay, so there, and then I'm gonna get some blue and some red, magenta. Make a dark purple and then add brown to it. To make a dark neutral purple color. And then using that tip of the brush, just do these little flat lines. Some of them, I think these ones are kind of like spent, the ones that have turned brown, but I'm not gonna worry about it. And then, well, no, there's more than, okay. I was afraid that there was only going to be 3 in each, but there's more than that. All right, and then get my white, and there's this little pistils sticking out here. Okay, I think that's good. I feel like I could probably glaze these to just help kind of brighten up some of the spots in there, and might even use a little bit of this dark color down to help define where some of these go down in. But I think I want to glaze just a little bit of green in here. So I'm going to use my phthalo green, a little bit of yellow, and make a bright lime green. And then use my glaze. I need to make sure this is dry. So I can use this on my leaf here to brighten up a little bit while that's drying. Okay, I think we're good. I'm just going to touch around the center with this color. Just tint that center area just a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty subtle. You can see I've already done these ones here. And just have the glaze or water. If you don't have glaze, that's fine. Just use water, but just tinting around the center to add that little bit of a greenish tint there, and maybe right at the bottom of that flower where it attaches. What?
So that little bit makes a difference.
It does, yeah. Yeah, just kind of helps.
You see it, but you don't see it.
Right. Yeah, you might notice it in the picture if you really looked, but until you look for it, you may not notice it. So it's definitely in there, and that kind of helps. So I don't think that I'm gonna have to really do much with my bird. You know, I was worried that it was too light, but I think with these light flowers it looks good overall. I think it works. I do see now that this and this end at the same spot, so that's kind of a problem. So I'm going to extend this up just a little bit above that so that it's not, these three things are not ending at the same spot.
You can curve it or have it go straight up.
I
So
don't
this is what you were talking about in the Saturday video about composition.
Right. Yeah.
And the leading lines. And so now
Yeah.
with this, if you do it straight up, it will shoot your eyes right off the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
But if you curve it, it brings you back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like those two leaves there, they're
Right.
curving you back into
Into
the center.
Yeah, so I'll probably just do another line right here. And
Just kind of cap
right
it
there.
off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that works. Maybe get a little bit of white. Yeah, that works. Got nice curving lines, kind of flowing, mimicking each other just a little bit. Highlight that one. Give that a little bit of a glow there on that stem. Yeah, I think we're good. I don't think I want to go much darker than that. I think I want to keep it fairly soft. So let me take this out, lay that flat, bring these other two over. Let's see. Yeah, nice. So that's how you build a series. You I chose a bird going downward on purpose because I wanted to have a different orientation. You know, there's only so many ways that I can do a bird on here. And so I think I'm done with the birds. If I do another one, I might do one low looking up, or like have something that has a branch coming out that I can perch him on so that he's, you know, looking up, or maybe even looking this way. But I think I might do larkspur and do pink and blue larkspur with the bees, and I think that would be another one that would fit really nicely with this and not compete with the birds at all. So that's the challenge when you're doing, you know, a series like this, is figure out how to make them different but work together. So using the same color scheme is always good, you know, having this gray and the flower, you know, things, all of the backgrounds obviously are the same. None of these have blue in them except for this one. But the blue is worked into the grays and the greens, so it still is okay on its own. But I think that having that larkspur with a little bit of the blue in another one would probably be a nice way, or even doing one that has a blue bird would be a good selection, you know, to go along with this one. If you guys like this series and want to keep seeing me do more of these, let me know in the comments, because I would really enjoy it. I've really enjoyed doing this. This is a triptych, if you want to know the 3 together that go together. And you could always overlap your leaves from one to the other. You know, technically that would be a true triptych when you're, you know, basically like, you know, have a scene that's spanning 3 canvases like this.
Oh, so would you put something on one canvas that leads off onto another canvas?
Yeah, you can.
Like that?
Like we did that bird series a couple years ago.
Right, they all fit together.
Right, they all fit together. Yeah, so you could do that with this if you wanted to. But I definitely, like, if we do the bees, we could easily add a bee or two to these, you know, that kind of like the bees were kind of populating the other, you know, flowers, or do the bee butt like Mark suggested on here, you know.
I think I'm the center bird.
You're the center bird?
Yep, and you're the bird on the left.
This one? Yeah.
Because I'm checking you out.
I like it, and I'm ignoring you.
Look at those tail feathers.
She's like, look at the pretty flowers. And he's like, ooh, look at her.
Look at her.
Who's this guy? I don't know.
What was your name?
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll miss you next week. We'll be on vacation with our grandkids. We weren't going to do this because we did our big vacation last year in September, but Mark got free. He had enough miles that we got free tickets, so we're like, oh heck, yeah, we might as well. So it'll be fun. We're looking forward to it. Since we were sick, at least I was sick Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm looking forward to having a vacation where I'm not sick. So hopefully this one will, fingers crossed, we will.
And you got sick in France, so.
Yeah, and I got sick in France too. That's right. My last week in France. Yeah. So I haven't had very much luck on vacations not getting sick. Oh, let's splatter. I just realized we had some splatters here on these other two that we didn't do.
Let's splatter, baby.
Let's end with some splatters, and I'll sign it too. I do need to give it a second coat over here also, so because this one is got some.
And we really do appreciate all you supporters.
Yes.
Over on Patreon. You guys are absolutely incredible and amazing. Your year after year support since 2017.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
We don't take it for granted.
No, we do not.
We can't say it enough.
And that's, you guys have been responsible for all of the improvements and all of these new series and things and the different paintings that I've gotten to do over the last few years that are more, challenging bonus videos and the challenge series ones that, you know, span several weeks and things. I would never get to do those on YouTube if it weren't for you guys. So it's really been good creatively for me too, just as an artist, to be able to share that with you guys and be able to have time to do those kind of bigger projects and fit them into my work schedule, because normally I wouldn't have, you know, with all these YouTube videos, if that's all I was doing, I wouldn't have had time to do those. There's no way that
Right.
they would be worth the time on YouTube. YouTube just doesn't pay.
And as you did
For
in
those.
the show Saturday, you broke out the iPad to show how to use some of the graphics tools and programs to
Mm-hmm.
do layouts and compositions
Right.
and try things before you put paint on canvas.
Yep.
And so those are the kind of things that you get in the Patreon videos, is that deeper dive,
Yeah.
kind of behind the scenes prepping for
Design and
I think we're back. The soundbar board just went blup.
uh-oh.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back in? Okay, good. I'll sign here.
That is weird.
Anyhow, we're just... There we go. Now we can compare them and better... There we go. Now we're talking. See, now she's checking him out. All right, guys, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed this. Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share our videos. It really does help us. We're trying to get our numbers back up to where they should be this year. We've changed some things with the way we're doing our Patreon videos, because it's kind of hurting our channel numbers, and YouTube was not
Thanks.
sharing us like they normally
Yeah.
did for a while there. So,
And more importantly, we
Uh-huh.
need 700 of you to go over and watch the tank video so we can finally break 10,000 after 5 years.
is it close?
It's 9.3 thousand.
I cannot believe that.
So after 10,000, I think you said you'd do another one.
Did I?
So I think it has to be a tank series, kind of like this. Mm-hmm. No?
I don't know. I mean, you know,
Why not?
if there's enough interest, I will do it. Yeah,
All right.
maybe. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.